The small church smelled of polished wood and worn hymnals, a scent that clung to the air like memories too heavy to shake. The congregation had gathered in somber silence, the kind of quiet that presses on your chest and makes the heart ache. Today was the funeral of Reverend Samuel Harris, a man who had been the moral compass of this town for decades, guiding its people with gentle words, wise counsel, and unshakable faith. But nobody expected the day to hold a surprise so profound that it would linger in the hearts of everyone present long after the coffin was lowered. John Kennedy stood at the back of the church, his tall frame slightly hunched, a black suit draping over him like a shadow. For years, John had been known in town as the stoic, unassuming senator, a man of sharp intellect and precise rhetoric, but not much else. To many, he was a political figure, a face on the news, someone capable of debating laws but never of breaking a heart open with someone. And yet, today, for reasons even he didn't fully understand, he felt compelled to step forward. The service had started as expected. The minister delivered a heartfelt eulogy, stories of Reverend Harris's kindness, his tireless work for the community, and the countless lives he had touched. Tears flowed freely, hands clasped together, shoulders shaking with grief. And as the eulogy concluded, there was a brief pause and emptiness, a silence so complete it felt almost sacred. That's when John's voice broke it. He didn't announce it. He didn't ask permission. He simply stepped up to the pulpit, hands gripping the polished oak, and looked out over the crowd, meeting eyes that were already reddened with sorrow. Then he began to sing. The first note was tentative, almost a whisper, but it held a clarity that cut through the heaviness in the room. "Amazing Grace," he sang, and the sound was unlike anything anyone had expected from him. Rich, deep, and profoundly moving, it seemed to wrap itself around the grief of the congregation, carrying each sorrowful heart gently on its wings. There was a raw vulnerability in his voice, a trembling honesty that no debate, no speech, no political maneuver could ever convey. As he continued, the notes grew stronger, more confident, more filled with emotion. Every eye in the room was fixed on him. Some covered their faces with trembling hands, others simply stared, mouths slightly open, caught in a moment that felt almost holy. It wasn't just the beauty of his voice, it was the courage to bare his soul in front of so many, to bring light to a room heavy with darkness. John's mind wandered back to his own life during the song, memories he hadn't allowed himself to feel for years. Memories of his father's voice, faintly singing in the early mornings. Memories of childhood friends who had passed too soon. Memories of the countless people he had met in his political life who were struggling quietly, suffering silently. And in that moment, every note he sang